Hello and welcome to Cheshire Audio. Now today it's just going to be a quick news video really. A few things happening at the moment. It's not actually that particularly busy in the shop really. It's sort of busy with calls but not busy with sort of people coming in and listening to stuff or anything. So I'm getting a bit of a chance to do a few updates to things and a few repairs and listening to a few bits, which to be honest I don't get a lot of chance to sit and listen. Really, it's usually too busy for that. So just show you what's going on in the workshop at the moment. We've got what's going on at the moment. Right on the side there's a Rega Neo 6 which somebody's plugged into the wrong voltage. Apparently doesn't work. I kind of suspect there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm going to stick it on later on and see what's going on with it. Project RPM 3, which has been adjusted by a small child. So the parts are coming for that, so I'm going to sort that out today. Quite a nice one here. I've got a very early Roksan Xerxes. You can tell it's the early one because it's got the old flick switch power supply. So it's probably mid-80s. I would have thought that. It has faded quite a bit, but actually I quite like the sort of the colour of it now. It's been quite light. It's got an RB300. This RB300 fitted to it. This is just in for service and a new cartridge. He's never had it serviced, and to be honest, looking at the way it's all sitting, I think it's kind of looking okay. I think, but main thing with Roxanne's is just to clean everything to the nth degree. You have to really clean the motor, make sure the motor's nice and free, because it's got sort of the motor rotates on a Xerxes. In fact, I'm just going to stop the camera and show you that because it's quite interesting with Xerxes. Right, yeah, so we've taken the platter off. You can now see how much it's faded over its 30 odd years life. It's the walnut's sort of gone from this quite dark to medium tone to quite pale. I think quite like it though. It just kind of suits it. It's almost sort of looks more modern in the lighter colour. Yeah, 3 transit bolts, RB300 tone arm with a Rega release in it, we're putting an exact on it. The interesting thing with the Roksan is the motor can react. You can actually twist, so the sort of torque reaction here, you'll notice when you start one of these up, the motor will actually twist momentarily and then come back to being level again. Now, I suspect it's almost acting as a sort of gearing down, so that when the initial torque hits it, it has a chance to sort of almost acclimatise to the torque. It's kind of guesswork that really. I remember talking to Tourage, the designer, about it, and the problem with Tourage, he did tend to go all around the houses and draw graphs and get very he absolutely loved his subject, and he was a brilliant turntable designer, but never ask him a question. I think that's the advice. Never ask Tourage a question, because I can't remember anything about what he said, but it does seem to work. I mean, the actual speed stability of these seems to be really good. So I'm assuming, because this just sits on a little bearing and rotates, and one of the things with setup of these is you want to make sure that that's nice and free. If it's stiffened up and there's a loop of wires here, you need to make sure all the wires and everything are nice and free and there's nothing catching. And it does actually improve them. It does, you know, if everything's right with these, they do sound quite superb actually. Now I do Roksan. I don't actually have any demonstrators at the moment, but I'm actually an agent for Roksan. You know, they still do the Xerxes, but it's come on quite a bit over the years compared to this, and they still do the Radius, which is a Perspex deck as well, which is nice. Next to it we've got, this has been here a while actually, been waiting for spares for it, but this is an RPM 5, which the arm's got a fault on it, and I'm going to have a go at rewiring. I don't usually rewire arms, but the projects are a bit of an easier to do than Rega's, so I'm going to rewire that and just see if that cures what's going on with it. What else is happening? There's a bit of clutter. That's a karma table that I'm delivering to a chap later this evening. Still trying to update the website. Yeah, I had to. The banks have sort of decided that the usual gateways that everybody uses aren't compatible with all the new systems, so they updated everything, and my website wasn't compatible with the gateway, so I've had to completely rewrite it right from the start. So it's about 1,200 products that I'm going to have to put on, which should take some time, to be honest. So anyway, that's where we're up to with that. The shop at the moment. Anything new in here? I was talking about stacks the other day, stack system. There's a 3100 system up there that we talked about. Also, that's the big energizer that they do. That's the T8000, which is a £4,500 valve energizer, which is amazing thing. What else? And that's a pair of, can't really see them. That's a pair of L700s, which are the top range landers. I've actually got a Bluetooth receiver there, which is very unlike me, but that's quite a useful little device. Black Cube phono stage from Lehman, which is really good actually. The whole range of those is really good. Not many people know about them, but they're superb. Got some Rye cables there, which Italian brand, which we're trying out. Actually, I've not listened to everything they do yet, but the interconnect's quite good, and that speaker cable seems to be quite good as well. So I always like to try new things out, and we've bought a few bits just to try. Not an awful lot else going on down here. Oh, except traded in a really nice pair of Icon valve monoblocks, which I think are sold actually. I think I've just sold these, but anyway, they're for somewhat less than I paid for them, which tends to be my way really. Never one for actually making a profit or anything. That's it. Yeah, shop's kind of as usual really. I've nicked the car parking space outside as I'm doing a delivery later on. So sorry about it. If you want to come in today, you can't park in the parking space. Upstairs. Try not to fall over when I'm using the camera. Oh, somebody asked me about wall art the other day. The actual, what do you call them? They're not these sort of vinyl art things. These are available. I think you can buy them individually, or you can buy them three for about £100. But you just put your vinyl in, it'll tip forward, so you can still use it. Got Grateful Dead, and let's if we can get away from the shine. Andreas Vollenbinder. Got a few of his actually. It's kind of late night, glass of wine sort of music. Turn the lights off. It's sort of. It's one guy with it's like electronic harp, but it sounds a bit of a strange thing, but it's actually really good. It's very inventive. That used to be a bit of a hi-fi recording, which I sort of discovered it and then realised that it was one of those that everybody seemed to bring to demo rooms in the 80s. But it's a great album, and a bit of Mott the Hoople. Not the usual one. I've got that as well. I can't remember. Is it called the Hoople? There's a famous one with the girl's head with all the faces in the hair. And then we've got Blodwyn Pig, which I bought years and years ago, actually. Blodwyn Pig. Didn't really like it when I got it at first, couldn't get into it. And I bought it because, I don't know if any of you have ever seen it, but there's an album called Nice Enough to Eat, which was done by Ireland, and it had a lot of, basically it was a compilation of tracks of all different Ireland albums. And Blodwyn Pig was one of the ones on there, and I went through the whole album buying the albums off it, and that was the only one I couldn't get into. 30 years later, I've sort of replayed it and absolutely love it. It's quite sort of psychedelic, sort of rockish, sort of jazzy. It's quite difficult to sort of define what it is, really. What else is in here? Bob Pegnit's Strut, the Shipbuilder. That's a bit of quite a rare album, that now. See a bit of Bob Peg stuff around. Kind of surrealish folk, I suppose. Another one you can't really categorise. And then we've got a bit of an unknown one actually, but George Harrison's first solo album, Wonderwall Music. So if Oasis, who tend to trying to emulate the Beatles all the time, the word Wonderwall kind of came from the original George Harrison album. Not totally convinced about this really. I like George Harrison. This was a bit of an experimental one he did. I think, I might be wrong, I have a feeling this was the first album that had synthesizers on it. I probably am wrong with that, but I'm sure I've read somewhere that it was the first, or possibly the first mainstream album that used synthesizers. It's 1969, I think, something like that. Quite interesting. It's a nice thing to own, but it's like I said, I don't think it was his best album by a long way. And he did produce a lot of albums. I think I must have 10 or more albums by George Harrison, I think. And what's in the demo room? Yeah, I've been desperately trying to have a proper listen to this wax engine turntable with the cartridge that the same distributor supplied, which I've completely forgotten the name of now. I'll tell you that in a minute when I go downstairs. But yeah, I've not really had a chance to set it up and run with it. It's been here for about a month. The chap who's lent it to me is on holiday now, so he doesn't want it back for ages. But I always like to try new stuff. It's really well made. It's going to be probably about the price of a Rega P8, I think. So yeah, just playing with it. It's not very easy to set up. That's the only thing I'd say about it. It looks really straightforward. I found it quite difficult to set up, but kind of getting there. Still playing with it a little bit, trying to get it to go. One feature of this which is really strange is the belt. You probably can't see it on the camera. It's like a fishing line. Really fine belt on it. It seems to work though. I mean, it's actually got a knot in it, so it seems to break all the rules about consistent belt consistency. But it does work. It does seem to work. It doesn't seem to cause any issues. And I've just been running that through 5010 preamp and power amps monoblocks from Exposure. So that's their top pre-power combination. Their little phono stage, which I really like. Actually, that's a really good phono stage. It's about £750, something like that. I just realised I can find out what the cartridge is called because it's here. Charisma Audio. There you go. I've borrowed these before, and this range is really good. Actually, I really like the Charismas because he lent me one of these about a year ago. It's yeah, really nice. It's sort of a bit Lyra-like, I suppose. And that's running through. These have been in quite a bit in the den rooms. These are neat orchestras, which are like an isobaric design, which really like. Probably my favourite sensibly priced speaker at the moment. I think these are just out of the corner of my eye. So since we're talking about music a bit today, this is one of my favourite albums. Again, a bit of an unheard of one, but it's David Crosby. If only I could remember my name. It's pretty much Crosby, Stills and Nash, really, because I think they're all on it. But probably better than a lot of the Crosby, Stills albums. So yeah, that's the one to get. Really like that album. Saw them live a few years ago, and they were absolutely phenomenal. In Liverpool, I think it was. So I think they were all celebrating their 70th birthdays, but that was, how long ago would that have been? Probably 10 years. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Actually, there's a few bits of news. Yeah, right. Sort of news-wise, big news at the moment is that Rega have just finished the Illicit. After me doing a review on it, I had a sneaky suspicion. Actually, I did have a conversation with chaps from Rega, and there were sort of hints that something was going on. But yeah, it's finished. Will there be a replacement? Won't there be a replacement? What will it be like? What will it be based on? You have to watch this space for that one. Quite interesting, actually. Things that are happening there. There are some quite interesting things going on. So yeah, that's finished now. If you can't order one now. They've actually stopped any more production. I think anybody who's got one on order will get it, but it's like everything at the moment. There's a big waiting list. So most of the Rega amplifiers are a couple of months at the moment, which, to be fair, is a lot better than most. There's most people I deal with. There's only Exposure, I think, who seem to be getting things through quicker than that. Sugden are on months and months. Can't think of anybody else at the moment. But yeah, some of the cartridge manufacturers, Nagoka, can't give us a date. Or their importer can't give us a date when they'll see any more, because there's an issue with boron. So all their boron cantilevers, there's real problems getting boron at the moment. I think Rega, it isn't problems with materials. It is purely the amount of sales. It's just the 3 or 4-fold more sales at the moment, and half the staff to make them because of COVID. So it's difficult times, really. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's a bit frustrating when it is so busy. A lot of the things that we sell, we can't get hold of easily, and people are having to wait. So, and it's right across the UK. And everybody's in the same situation, really. They've also finished temporarily the carbon cartridge. That's not going to be available as a spare part. The styluses are, but not the cartridge, because there's a bit of a supply issue with those at the moment. probably because it is based on an Audio Technica. Well, it is an Audio Technica with a rebadged Audio Technica. And Audio Technica are having quite big issues. And they're on months and months waiting list as well. So that's probably where that's come from. That'll be back, but it's just at the moment because they can't fulfil. They need carbons to put onto the P1, P2. So I can understand why they're doing that, because that's part of the package. So that's got to take priority. I think that's it for actual news. I can't think of much else that's happening out there particularly. So yeah, if you like the videos, give us a like and give us a subscribe. It really helps the sort of channel if you do that. I think we've just passed 800 subscribers, which is, yeah, so it seems to be growing fairly steadily. Thank you very much for anybody who has done. Yeah, I'll like I say, just a quick news video really. Thinking of doing a Ethos amp versus A21 SE Sugden comparison. That might be the next one up. I need to do phono. Somebody suggested phono stage as well. Like, I need to do that, but I seem to not have phono stages available because things are out on loan, or I've had to sell the DEM one because there's a waiting list or something. So I need to be able to get enough together to do a comparison really. So that'll come, but it might be a month or two before I do that. Anyway, but I'll stop waffling on. See you in a future video. Thank you very much. See you soon.